be posted with the slides. So I got a few areas I want to touch on, and then I'll kind of stay on for some questions. But if I don't get any questions or early, as I know everybody's trying to get up here to see Santa Claus and also go shopping and things of that nature. So community doing some community. We got a great workforce. You hear me say that? But with that, with that workforce, it's a lot that goes into it so they can support the community and provide quality services. I think moving forward next year, we're gonna try to do a better job just explaining how our workforce is structured, how they're funded, um, and their day-to-day operations. We sat down recently and kind of look back at how we presented that before, and although I thought we were doing a great job, we do the daily report. So every day we show you what the workforce is and what they're committed to, and then we move to a monthly report versus a weekly report as far as a collaboration of all the efforts. And we did get some good feedback for that, but it's still not reaching the audience that we want to reach because ultimately we wanted to reach everyone so our citizens and residents can understand like what's really going on in the why behind it. So, but that's why I always state the mission and the vision and the mission at each meeting. And before I move on from that, I'll say it's kind of like, I guess the question is again, why? If I could do a better comparison, I would say why it's so important that we take care of the workforce and we explain the workforce. If it's like putting on your oxygen mask in the plane first. If we don't take care of the workforce, you can't take care of the person beside you, the person behind you, and the person in the back of the plane. So that's why we try to highlight the workforce so bad. That's why we try to keep stating the vision, the mission so much, so everyone can understand it. Try to keep it kind of a simple scenario, so hopefully you can understand that or appreciate that. But if not, if you got recommendations to better understand, or if the vision and the mission need to change, just reach out to us. On the next slide, and then got the same kind of question: why do we keep talking about the priorities? Again, the priorities explain operations. They explain what we target for each day. They explain how the budget structures. They explain how the commission and the mayor are thinking. They explain how I'm thinking. They explain the feedback that we get from the community on what we should prioritize in. And that's why we have these lists of priorities. And we try to touch on them each meeting to make sure we're hitting the point and we're not missing anything, because we want to make this be a community solution. That means the community and the city on figure out these issues. And these issues are common throughout other cities. It's just not Waycross. Everybody faces these same challenges, but sometimes, not sometimes, but we keep discussing them because we just want to make sure that everybody's understanding the priorities, and also we could be missing something. So if there's a possible solution out there, and it might be the first time that Mr. Jones is watching the commission meeting or attending the commission meeting, and we discuss blighted properties, and we've been talking about this for quite a minute now about some of the challenges we face about blighted properties, and he suggests, well, hey, y'all thought about this, and maybe we haven't thought about that. So that's why it's important to keep talking about these priorities. For one, for transparency, and then two, problem solution. So that said, we are going to kind of scale back on the actual definitions or summaries of each priority, but we will continue to talk about these priorities during each meeting and every meeting to make sure, again, that we have or we achieve shared understanding, and then hopefully we get some community solutions from behind that. One thing I did do, and this is pre-decisional, depending on the new commission, I did add a portion down there about abandoned pets, because I think that needs to be seen by everybody, understood by everybody, and that way we kind of can figure out a different approach to that moving into the next year, because it is a very important topic. Definitely here recently, we've had some media coverage about the problem. So anyway, these are our priorities, and I just asking you to just look over them sometime. If you got any solutions you think might be workable, please reach out. Again, we don't get everything right. We are not absolute in thinking or obtuse in thinking. We take help in any form and fashion or any capacity. So just let us know. But again, these are our priorities. The next thing I want to talk about is the city plan. And I won't go too far into the entire city plan. I'll just make a few comments about it. So when I first got here, one of the things I did after I walked around a few weeks and I talked to some of the staff, got some feedback from the commissioners, reached out to other cities and city managers. And, one of the things that, and off my Army background, you got to have a plan. Now we have a comprehensive plan. We have other plans, but you need something that's visual, that can be visualized by anybody. So that's what we tried to do with this slide. Just kind of show you, where we at short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Some of our pillars as far as transparency, communication, and trust. And then what's going on through those actual years. And we passed years 1 and 2, and now we're focusing on years 2 to 4. And I'm going to kind of touch on some of those, some of the things that's going on in years 2 to 4 briefly. So, of course, one of the big things when I first arrived here, our IT systems were very outdated. In some cases, they were over 20 to 30 years old, much like our infrastructure as far as our roads and streets and sewers. And, just pretty much not functional for what we needed as a staff to better provide better service to our citizens. So that's one of the first things we did. Now, it took about 2 years, and we were about done with implementing the total changeovers. But it was just required. We need to modernize our systems. IT is a big deal in any corporation, and the city is a corporation. That's how it's run. It's kind of run like a business. So that's one of the things we did do. We kind of looked at our infrastructure strategy. We got some lists out here, and I always end up having to keep repeating this. I would just ask if you have any questions about our roads, how we pave our roads, or why we pave our roads. That's paved roads and dirt roads. Go to our engineer page on our on our web page, and they list the priorities going down. Because we get questions all the time. When's my road getting paved? We have a list. We have all the priorities of all the roads and streets that will be getting paved, if it's resurfaced or if it's new pavement. So please take a chance to look at that. So, but that's one of the other areas that we did. We created strategies to better explain our processes, and one of those processes is paving our roads. So take a look at that if you can. And then, of course, we're just trying to, make our quality of service better. That's through better communications, better interactions, better problem solving, better community solutions. We have multiple ways of communicating with you through our staff, through our technology, through our commissioners and the mayor. And we just want to make sure that through that communication that we are, we're solving our problems together. We might not always think alike or the same, but we can think together on what's best for Waycross. So, but if you get a chance, look at the city plan. You'll see a lot of this aligns with what we've been talking about during our meetings. As far as some of our milestones and some of the direction that we're going in, it all lines up. And again, though, if you have any questions about this or suggestions, just reach out. All right. So I got maybe like four, I guess, areas I want to discuss, and they mainly focus around safety. And we're gonna move to the next slide, starting with the safety. And I want to get serious here because I see people often, every time we talk about this, I see people laugh or they come on our Facebook and make certain comments. We're talking about life and death in some situations. And we just had a recent death. And I'm really asking, because we've been trying to figure out what's the right tone for communication on safety. But Red Cross, we have got to slow down. I just can't, we can't figure it out. Again, the city is 11.8 square miles. You can get anywhere in 2 or 3 minutes just driving the speed limit. But for every reason, we just speed, and then we ignore our stop signs, our stop lights, our crosswalks, and you know, we got to do better. We got to be better. Like I said, it's all fun and games until you get hit or somebody you love gets hit, and then it's serious. So in that spirit, crosswalks. We have multiple crosswalks across the city. If you've been following our meetings, you know we're about to upgrade some of our crosswalks as far as their technology and how the utilization is. But that doesn't work, or they don't work, if we all, don't become part of the solution. My slide mainly focuses on people, pedestrians walking across the crosswalk, but that's only half the problem. For every reason, people don't understand they have to slow down when somebody's in the crosswalk. I just can't figure that out, but I want to keep reiterating this again and again, that we all have to buy in to safety. It's got to be everybody's problem, and we all got to be part of the solution. So I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence by reading these slides. You can see what it says. I just ask, if you're a citizen, especially in the hours of darkness, please use the crosswalks. Please push the button. Please make sure those lights are flashing before you step into that crosswalk. If you can, it says on these slides, if you can make eye contact with the driver, try so, but that's not like a priority, but just please use the crosswalk. If you are crossing anywhere else outside that crosswalk, first of all, you're not covered by insurance, a whole bunch of which you think you would be, but you're not going to be. And then two, the cars who are already probably speeding are not going to be looking for you. So, we need to slow down. We need to care about each other, but also care about yourself. So use the crosswalk. I don't know how else to present this, because we present it multiple ways. We've discussed it multiple times, but if you go outside right now, you're going to see people crossing the street, and there's a crosswalk not 10 feet away, and they're still crossing the street. So yeah, we need your help with this. And again, if you've been following our meetings, we're going to do some raised mediums and put in some more speed calming techniques or infrastructure. But none of that works if we don't use the crosswalk. Please push that button. And those that are in the vehicles, pedestrians in the vehicles, please slow down when you get to the crosswalks. Please, if you see somebody standing there, just go ahead and come to a stop now, because they're trying to gauge your speed. And with that said, like, if anybody got any other, recommendations or, solutions, please reach out for it, because this has been difficult. I have to admit that it's been difficult when it shouldn't be. We should all care about each other on our roads and our streets and our highways. All right, next slide. And this is again on safety. This is more for educational purposes, but and I don't want to read the slide directly, but we've had a lot of accidents in our intersections. I would say most of our accidents have been in our intersections. Most of the time, simply because people do not follow the traffic patterns, the traffic lights, or the signs if the lights are down. So I'm just going to state this because I'm not sure if everybody understands the why behind this, but I know there have been people that have gotten tickets on this, and they question why I getting a ticket for turning in the lane. I'm going to try to touch on that and try to explain it best I can, but I encourage you, you can look this up for yourselves and just understand, the laws of driving, and then more than that, just understand how those laws apply to keeping everybody safe. So the first thing I'm going to talk about It's probably not. It's actually B in my slides. That stop bar. That's that white strip that's in front of you when you get to the light. It's a white strip of paint right there. That's the stop bar. You are required to stop behind that stop bar. You must stop behind that stop bar for a lot of reasons. First, it allows people to use the crosswalk if it's a crosswalk presence. First, it's there because they've done engineering data to say stopping behind this allows the other vehicles in a intersection to turn properly. If everybody can understand that. When you don't stop it, when you stop too far, first you prevent folks from taking the crosswalk. You also prevent other cars from turning. It's so many things that little act, deters, and it doesn't have to be. You don't talk about 2 or 3 inches. So that's the first thing. And by not, and this is the output of not stopping in that stop bar. So you don't stop there and your car is too far forward. Again, that stop bar has been placed by technology and engineering data to ensure it allows the person from the right and left to turn. You don't allow them to turn. And it is illegal to turn when you take a left turn and you got 2 lanes and you turn to the opposite, the most outer lane. That's a ticket. And why are you saying, why is that, Mr. Rayford? Well, because the car coming from the other side, taking a right turn, they have to turn at that right turn. So legally, both cars can turn at the same time if they stay in their lanes. But it's hard for the car coming to make a left turn if the car, they're passing is fully past, the stop bar. I maybe sound a little bit confusing, but if you just follow the traffic patterns, it can actually save lives. The accidents we've happened because people have crashed. First of all, turning wide at a high rate of speed, so when they can't make that curve, and other cars coming, they hit those cars. Sometimes because the other car is so far forward, they can't see, especially in hours of darkness, what's coming from the other way. If it's just the green light versus the turn light. So all these are very important, and these are very simple things that we could do to make everybody safe. So we're asking again, safety should be not only the city's highest priority, but the citizens' highest priority. So again, help us out with that. And the last thing on this slide, yellow traffic light. We had 2 accidents the other day. And one, I was driving and the car passed me and tried to run the yellow light. And you said, again, Ms. Rayford, that's what yellow light means. A yellow light does not mean proceed with caution. It means get prepared to stop. Totally different. And the reason it's a yellow light, so you can stop, but, because if excessive speeds and you can't see when that light's turning, cause accidents. So to summarize all this, please just follow follow and observe either the posted signs, the posted traffic lights, the posted police or sheriff that might be doing that intersection if it has no power, or use common sense if it's a 4-way stop and there's no power. The person to the right has priority. And again, we really need your help on this because it's endangering the lives of our citizens, and it shouldn't be, it shouldn't take this much communications about just simply slowing down and following traffic laws. All right, next slide I'm going to go to is it's going to be talking about the codes. And it's talking about the codes. And I want to put this here because, we've been having some discussions. We had the local news media down here a couple of times, and they want to talk to citizens. I did a couple of interviews, and it is so important that, first of all, if you have a concern or question, that the code is the charter is available online. You can download it on our webpage, and it can provide you the information that you need to be successful. And I think it's important that we start there because that is the city's Bible. If you want to think of the aspects of it, that's how we govern ourselves. That's how we ensure accountability and transparency is through that charter. And a lot of times we get suggestions, and sometimes, especially over social media, we try our best to answer all concerns and questions, But a lot of times, people post, well, do this and do that, and it's already in the charter. It's hard to kind of come back to them and explain that to them. So I'm actually like today, because we're going to talk about this more in detail moving forward next year with the new commission. I'm going to revise the charter at our April retreat and update some changes in there. So if you got any changes or anything with policy, performance procedures that you might think are applicable, reach out to your commissioner right now and let them know, hey, I think the charter revision should include this. It might be some things that you think we need to add. So reach out now and be part of that process. But for the time being, we have to follow the charter as it is now. So, and again, so why do we need to follow the charter? First of all, it achieves shared understanding. That way, when we have an issue or a complaint, we can all start at a baseline of what the standard is and then kind of go from there versus argue about a difference in opinion, because the charter is not about opinion, it's about law. Saves time and money. I was talking to one of our recent investors, and he admitted to me, wish he had read some of our charter provisions before he did some things, because he could have saved some money. And I would tell anybody that coming here, as a home builder or any type of investments, you want to know what the local laws are and procedures. Every city, state is not the same. There are quite differences. And with our charter, and I'm proud to say this, all of our code enforcements, all of them are certified. You don't find that in many other cities. So yes, their standards going to be lower than ours, but again, if you do some research, you'll see what happens when you don't follow state mandating state codes. But that's in our charter. Please research that before you do anything, because it will save you time and money. And it creates a better charter. Again, if there's something in there that looks incorrect or you feel could be rewritten to benefit the community, that's what it's about. We want to make sure that everybody understands it and it seems it fits the mold for everybody. So, we want the best charter possible. So again, we're gonna be revisioning this in April. It has to go up to the state legislature to be passed between October and February. So we want to be done with all revisions around June, July timeframe when we have the finance budget starts. So, and then again, as I stated earlier, the charter explains our processes, which all leads to building a better community. All right. Next slide. And this is about animal concerns. And again, I took a picture of old Diesel on here. Diesel's a serious thinker. If you go down, you know what? Diesel's gone now. Somebody came and got Diesel. So I'm happy that Diesel's going to be spending Christmas with the family this year, because he's always sitting there thinking down that shelter about something. But Diesel's a great example of a great pet family member. They got discarded for whatever reasons. And it's like, as I said in the interview, no amount of policy, procedures, enforcement can deter a irresponsible pet owner. And that's our main problem. And I discussed that many times about why people are irresponsible. Sometimes it is based on age. Sometimes it is finances. Sometimes we have horrible people that buy animals for reasons I do not know. But with that, to mitigate this problem, although I have a dog post, I'm talking about animals in general, we got to work as a team. It's going to take a community solution. Over the next 90 days, we're going to be looking at some alternate approaches of how we manage our abandoned pet population. I'm going to be reaching out for some additional funding. If you watched the interview, or if you read the remarks entirely on the interview, you heard me discuss about a nonprofit, maybe assuming some of our responsibility, because a nonprofit organization will qualify for way more grant funding than the city will. And in some places around the country, it's actually working better. But as we all know, this is an issue around the country right now as far as abandoned pets. We are looking at maybe chipping, maybe additional licensing, all those things. But with that comes a requirement for more staff. More staff requirement means more salaries. More salaries mean taxes. That's just where things work right now. But we're still looking at as many options as possible. We're going to upgrade our shelter over the next 90 days. We're going to add a few more areas for our animals to do, to be safe and play. and a few other things that hopefully make their stay there, better than what it has been in the past. We're going to do a better job at promoting our animals on a daily basis. You probably seen that on Facebook. But, again, all that will help. But it won't totally solve the problem as long as we got people just releasing animals in the middle of the night. So, again, we need your help with that. If you have too many animals, reach out when you can. If we can help them, we will. Please read the charter, the section on animals before you get an animal or multiple animals, because there are fence requirements. There are other requirements, there are noise requirements. And I think a lot of people don't take the time to do that. And then they get frustrated, after the fact, which I can understand. But again, before you do anything, you do some research. That's any major purchase. And an animal is probably the biggest purchase you're going to do. Probably more than a car, because that's a 24/7 job. So I want to say to my staff, our team, they're trying their best, and the team, including the animal shelter, code enforcement, police, all of them interact with managing our abandoned pet population. They're trying their best, but it is a difficult job. We have so many animals out here just being released into the streets, and people just breeding animals without any recourse. So, but with that, I will say that last week was our biggest adoption week in some time. And we want to personally thank the Commission and our team. All those individuals who came in there and adopted those dogs and those cats who leave their homes, definitely a Christmas break, because yes, you could have went and found a puppy or something like that, but you came and gave an older dog a home, and that's what communities do. So we thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts, because these animals deserve it. And Diesel, if you're out here watching right now, we're gonna miss you, man. You was a great poster child for the animal shelter. So, but we're glad you got a home, and you're gonna get some good Christmas presents this year from your owners. So, in summary on this slide, like I say, animal concerns are a shared responsibility. We need everybody's help on this. I mean, everybody's help, and we need everybody to kind of really plan out any purchase of animals. And then anybody, if you're doing any type of animal abuse, there could be high consequences next year. I don't know right now how that looks, but that's one of our main focus is going to be as far as fines and fees. It's part of the other overall approach of making, I'm not going to say making things easier, but making things better for our abandoned pets. And then my last slide for the day before I stand by for questions is kind of an update about what's going on in the month of April. And April is one of our more busier months as far as community involvement or community action. And just want to touch on a few things for the month of April. So April is National Cleanup Month. And most of you know already that during April, we put out those big trash bins, dumpsters at select parks. We're going to put them out in different locations this year to do better management, but we're going to put them out. But also for the City of Waycross, it's Volunteer Month. We kind of came up with that last year. So we're going to do hopefully get a lot of volunteers. I'm going early this year because there are some stipulations we got to meet for volunteers. But the great news is right now we have two groups, volunteer groups, who are committed to doing assisting 20 homeowners. Now these are two different groups. One group I think we did post their requirements to be selected to get your home, get help with your home. The other group is coming next week to kind of show me what their requirements are. And we're looking forward to, we want to thank both of these groups for coming together. I think between them, they have around 400 to 500 individuals that's going to come through the month of April and just help people who need help with their homes as far as, cleaning their yards up, getting rid of some of the bad and dead trees and vegetation, fixing some of the windows, fixing the mailbox, taking away the junk, fixing some of the roof, and doing some stuff internally inside the house, for some of the drywall, things of that nature. And the good thing about these two groups, they do have licensed contractors, plumbers, and electricians. And because it is them going into a owner's home to help them, the code is different for somebody trying to fix their own home versus a rental property. So it's going to be great. And like I said, right now, looking at 20 homes, I'm going to try to get some people together myself. Ideally, it would be great if we could do just, I'm going to say 50 properties, That's a mix of homes and lots. And we're looking to get volunteers to come help us clean some of the abandoned lots, with the overgrowth on grass and trees. But we're gonna put that schedule out probably in March, because there will be some meetings that got to have to be conducted so everybody can understand the right and left margins of assisting these homeowners. I've already discussed about the cleanup dumpsters and then tire collection. So we're gonna have a big tire collecting event in April, and again, those location times will be put out in March, and that's when we collect. We're gonna try to collect all of the tires here in the city. That's gonna be some stipulation about how many tires you can turn in, and we'll put that out, like I said, in March. But we did get a grant, received a grant for that, and we're gonna try to fulfill that grant as best we can, because we have a lot of abandoned tires everywhere. So when that comes out in March, please be tracking. I would say go ahead and get your stuff together now so you can be prepared, and then we'll go from there in April with the tire collection. Next thing, I kind of work with the Veterans Clinic here in Waycross on a lot of issues. So one that we're trying to really help out with moving forward. If you didn't know, a lot of our veterans, of course, they're more. We have a lot of older veterans. They have to travel a lot to get seen for us patients. Jacksonville, a lot of places in Florida. I forgot the other location. I think Gainesville, some other places. Some of them have workable cars; they can do it, but then some of them don't. And if the appointment is changed or whatever happens, them driving way down there, it makes it frustrating. Our local VA clinic right now has one vehicle. They have a van, but right now they only have 2 drivers, so they can only make so many trips to so many locations. So what we're asking is, and we're gonna have a meeting on this in January for volunteer drivers. This is not a paid job. There's some stipulations with this job, but if you're interested, like I said, we have a meeting in January in the city chambers, probably late January. It says mid on my slides, but probably late January. We're gonna have a meeting, discuss this, and see can we get as many drivers as possible. Ideally, they need about 4 to 6 drivers a week. So talking about, we're talking almost 30 a month. With anything, it's gonna be appreciated. And the goal would be to get those drivers so they can make 4 to 5 trips a day to those other cities to get services for our veterans. That way, our veterans who are already kind of, probably hurting physically, don't have to drive those locations. Like I said, there's a stipulation with that as far as being a driver, and I'll touch on all that in a live stream in January. And then after that live stream, when I talk about requirements, then we'll probably have an face-to-face meeting, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So that's the month of April. That's some other events going on in April I didn't put on here. I just want to touch on these because these are like truly community building events. So again, if you can help with your time, with your resources, with your funding, with your services, with your certifications, please do. And we'll but in March, once we get, contact with the other group of people, we'll kind of periodically put other posts online, just updating you where we are until we get to March. But this is going to be a great deal. The one organization, they do this every year. The other organizations, their first time doing it. So we're looking forward to helping them with the first time. But I'm excited about that because it just shows, it shows the community how much we care about each other. That, we got, other residents going to take, their time, to help somebody who needs help, who can't help themselves. So we're looking forward to that. And that completes my slide deck. I actually went longer than I thought. But it has been a while since we had an update. I don't think we have any questions in the chats. But let me look. Yeah. So we don't have any questions in the chat. So we're gonna update these slides a little bit so they more presentable, and then we'll repost them again so you kind of look at the slides and what we'll discuss. And then we'll get back on schedule in January with our meetings as far as the city updates on the first and fourth Thursday of each month. So yeah, I'll stay a little bit for some questions if we got any. Maybe I'll stay on like 5 extra minutes. But to summarize what I just kind of pointed out, I'm just asking that we really work on our safety here in the city of Waycross. If we can cut down on the speeding, we got the trains, we got the large trucks. We do got some limited visibility on certain areas of the city when you're crossing at night. But that's going to require everybody kind of think safety first, and everybody kind of, you know, just assume it's your loved ones in the other car crossing the street, on the sidewalk, all those things, and that's how we take care of each other. But that is very important. If you're not familiar with some of these driving lane procedures, they can't get you ticketed. You can reach out to the police. My Chief Cox, he'll send you a presentation about how what not to get ticketed on, or actually you can go on, just Google it. It'll give you a detailed presentation on what turns are considered illegal and what turns are not. And it's important that we all follow that, to include my comments about the stop bar in the street. And with that, I think we're gonna call it a day. So I think we might have Santa Claus up here today. I'm not sure. He came yesterday. He might have been tired, but he might be here today for those that still trying to ask Santa Claus for that one last present before Christmas. We will be closing tomorrow at 12 noon. So if you have anything to do with the city, please get here early. As I mentioned in my slides, I want to thank my workforce again. Our workforce, your workforce. We got a great team. Professional individuals that go hard for this city every day. We have a new commission coming on in January, so there will be there will be changes to how we do business in some areas. And again, in April, we will start doing our meetings to revitalize revisions of the charter. I guess revitalize it too, of the charter. To first modernize it and then make it more applicable for our citizens. And again, not to make stuff easier, but to make things better for our citizens. So we thank you for all your continued support. We'll continue to communicate to our citizens for community solutions. And again, if you have any positive solutions or recommendations, reach out to us and on all forms of communication that we have as far as City Red Cross. And with that, have a Merry Christmas. And if I don't see you, have a Happy New Year. And we will see you at our next regular scheduled commission meeting. Everybody have a great day, and thank you.